Hey, it's Biddy Penny. Welcome back to my channel. Today I have a special collage. It is a part of the Artful Memories Challenge. This is a challenge that is held on Instagram and it is put on by Jane Chip and Jack Ravi. And I definitely encourage you to go over and follow it. The only requirement, if you will, is to use a photograph. And I think that these Tim Holtz snapshots are just the perfect thing. If you can find ones that you think go well with the prompts, every day in the month of April, there is a prompt. I think they're really fun and imaginative. And I heard about this from Dede Willingham, who I'm going to leave linked down below. She's very fun, very, very fun. So I am going to make, this was for day 2, and it was all about Xavier loving the library was the prompt. And I thought I'll go through the snapshots. I went through the snapshots and I really didn't find one that I liked, so I ended up going through my portraits and I just tried to find someone who kind of struck me as a Xavier, and this guy did. It wasn't Javier, it was Xavier. As if it really matters. Then I grabbed a library card, and I just imagined that Xavier checked out a book by H.G. Wells, The Time Machine, and that this sparked his love for the library because he discovered themes about time travel and wanted to know more and discovered that the library was the place to find more. So I am just kind of filling out my own faux library card here. And I'm going to age it a little with distress ink. And I today am making an 8x10 collage. I really just needed real estate. I needed space to make the things come together. The other thing that I'm not trying to do every single day in April, you know, there's all these prompts. I can't do them all. I'm not going to stress myself out trying. I'm just doing the ones that appeal to me. And I still want to go back and do day 1. And, you know, when you find a challenge like this, you could, instead of doing them all in April, you could do them for the next 3 months. You could be like, this is my quarterly, or I'm going to do it in 2 months, or I'm going to do it for the rest of the year. You know, and you can do the same prompt more than once. So I'm not about the rules. I think we all know that. I'm kind of tearing this library card in a few places and really distressing it. I like to bend and like crumple it up and then distress where the paper creases. I think that's really fun. And then I'm going to flatten it back out. Not completely, but mostly. But, you know, this is a library card from the late 1800s. So it can't look new. So in order to fit Xavier and his library card on this, that's what kind of dictated the size. I think we did one of these in a live. Yeah, we did one of the days in one of my lives last week, and I was able to put it on an A9 card. So, you know, there's just different options. I have a box that I keep in my craft room. It's kind of like a magazine box, you know, the ones that are designed for holding magazines. Mine's filled with gutted books and pages. And I was thinking about H.G. Wells, and he was from Britain. So I found some pages and poetry that I thought would go well. One was all about London, and then this is a poem about Britain as well, being home. Like, I've traveled everywhere. I've seen all the shores, and Britain is home to me. That kind of is the gist of the poem. If you want to see close-up images of this, they are on my Instagram. So you can definitely pop over to Instagram if that is a place that you frequent, and check out my page if you haven't before. I'm not real dedicated there, but I post on occasion, and I post things there that I don't post here. So you might check it out. Anyways, there's some photographs there. So I wanted like the castle, and I wanted this page that described the streets of London, and I wanted the king up there. So that's why this turned into an 8x10 rather quickly. I really had fun exploring and playing and creating this collage. I've been wanting to play more with the idea of transparency lately. And so you're going to see that I'm going to bring in acetate and layer this collage with a transparency layer. And so, I kind of play around with this quite a bit. And I left this in just because, like, sometimes it's just like small adjustments and little things that I think bring a collage together. So this isn't, there's different types of collage, and I can't think of all their names right now. But this is like a layered collage, where sometimes collaging is what people, when they try to create a picture that looks flat and uniform, that is not this. This is a layered collage. So I'm going to use some of my brusho type paper in the background. It's my infusions that I used to make this paper, and I had that cut down to 8x10. I just wanted a base layer for everything to kind of attach to. These book pages that are here, they're original, they're very brittle, they're very old. And so the paper that I'm attaching them to, this infusion paper, is a watercolor paper. It's very heavy and sturdy. So I felt like that was a good thing to add in. And I just folded up a piece of paper, colored it with an alcohol marker, and I just wanted to tuck like a book into his lapel, into his jacket, just thinking, he's on his way with his book and in tow, so maybe he's headed to the library, or maybe he's just left the library, but the young lad has a book. And that's the whole point of the collage today, is about loving the library. I was a library assistant in middle school because I was sometimes behaved very badly. And so I ended up using one of the periods that I was in as a library assistant, which I loved. I helped rebind books. Funny enough, now I tear them apart. I'm a junk journaler, but I loved my year in the library, and the librarian was so sweet, so quiet, so just like reserved, and she was a very interesting person, and I'm glad I got to work with her. And it got me out of a classroom I didn't want to be in. I was a rascal, y'all. It's so true. So I kind of played with joining all my pieces together, and then I realized if I left them where they were going to be off skew and crooked, and in a way that I didn't want them to be. So I was able to still lift them up and get them down. I used my glue sparingly because I took this whole thing to my sewing machine and sewed the pages together. That's what I had envisioned doing. And since this quote was talking about loving the library, the challenge, and I'm sorry, I didn't capture it to tell you exactly what day 2 challenge was. It was just about Xavier loving the library, but I chose the red thread, this hot pink thread. And here is my acetate, which is going to be 8x10 as well when I get it trimmed down. And I used this acetate. Well, I went and did a Google search of H.G. Wells' The Time Machine, and I kept seeing this image of the time machine with like a wheel behind it, and there's a carriage with a seat in it, and there's all kinds of gears, and it's very cool. And I decided that with my Sharpie, I'm just going to kind of sketch out that time machine and do it in a way of like a figure drawing, like more of a kind of a scientific drawing. So I'm going to end up writing like figure 1, figure 2, figure 3 and 4, and make it kind of like a little bit scientific. And so that's what I'm doing here. I was trying to draw around, there was a couple of lines of text that I still wanted to be visible, and I might have covered 1 or 2, but for the most part, this really worked. It adds another layer, another dimension of interest, and it just gets to lay right on top. So after I had my time machine drawn in there, then I went to look at quotes, popular quotes from the book, and I absolutely loved this one quote. And it was like, we all have time machines, don't we? Our memories are, take us through the past, and our future lies in our dreams. Something like that. I'm writing it out here. I'm just paraphrasing. But I loved the concept of how our memories are like a time machine that take us back through our life and through past times. But then our dreams are what propel us forward, and we can see things that we would love to achieve and in ways that we would like to be. And I love that idea that we all have a time machine within us, and it's just up to us to dream it and remember in order to travel through the past or into the future. I'll leave that with you guys. You all have time machines. We all do, and I think that that's a really fun concept to dream about and think about. So now I just have to trim off the excess acetate here. This was an 8.5 by 11 sheet, obviously, and then I'm working on an 8 by 10 canvas. So this is really fun. I can mat this and frame it if I want. Put it up on the wall, give it away as a gift, So I love that I am using my paper crafting not to make a card or a journal, but a piece of artwork to go on the wall. And I just love all the threads. I left all of my threads loose. Of course, I'm having to work against a little bit of static here, but I make that work. And then I'm deciding how to adhere these two pieces together, and I decide on photo corners. So I have these photo corners in my stash. They're different colors, and I grab these white ones, and then they're sticky. So I'm going to have to put some paper on the back of this. I'm going to show you how I kind of rigged this up. I just needed a way to adhere these two together, but I think eventually it'll be framed, and so that will help obviously hold the things together. But I like that. Just took a little bit of ingenuity here. I didn't want adhesive showing anywhere on the front. I'm just using scraps here. Y'all may recognize these from my sheet load of cards. I had this scrap just laying on my desk, so I'm putting it to work. And it is going to adhere that photo corner to this back layer. And then that way, these two pieces kind of become one. And I just love that. I kind of want to go back and Distress ink those photo corners, but this is the final piece. I hope you guys enjoyed this collage. It's something very different. Enjoy your time machine, and I'll see you later. Bye.